I, 36F, need advice about my marriage situation. I have been with Nathan, 39M, for 9 years, married for 7 of those years. We met at a military fundraiser event where I was volunteering. Back then, I was working as a successful real estate agent in a competitive market, often making more than he did in the military. We dated for 2 years before getting married, and everything seemed perfect. Nathan was caring, supportive, and we had similar goals about building a life together. When we first got married, I continued my real estate career while handling most household responsibilities. Nathan was often deployed or working long hours at the base, so I understood why he couldn't help much. I managed by hiring a weekly cleaner and a part-time nanny to help with the kids during my busiest showing times. Even with help, I was still the one coordinating everything, from grocery shopping to doctor's appointments to organizing playdates. We now have 3 beautiful children, Emma, 6, Lucas, 4, and Sophie, 2. From the beginning, Nathan struggled with the kids' evening routine. He would get frustrated easily if they didn't listen or if bedtime took too long. After a few incidents where he lost his temper and made Emma cry, we agreed I would handle the evening routine. It was exhausting, but I wanted to protect the kids from his short fuse. 3 years ago, I hit a breaking point. I was working 60-plus-hour weeks in real estate, often showing houses on evenings and weekends. Between work and being the primary parent, I was completely burnt out. I barely slept, lost weight from stress, and felt like I was failing at everything. Nathan noticed, but his solution was just to hire more help rather than step up himself. Things changed last year when Nathan retired from the military. He landed an amazing corporate job with a tech company, making significantly more than either of us had before. We sat down and made a plan. I would step back from real estate to focus on our growing investment portfolio. We had acquired several rental properties over the years and recently purchased a promising franchise opportunity. I also enrolled in an online MBA program since the business knowledge would help manage our investments. The agreement was that I'd handle the home front while Nathan focused on his new career. It seemed fair at first. I took over full responsibility for the house, kids, pets, 2 cats and a dog, and all our business interests. I managed tenant issues, property maintenance, franchise operations, bills, budgets, investments, literally everything except Nathan's job. A typical day for me starts at 6 a.m. getting the kids ready for school. After drop-offs, I juggle MBA coursework, calls with contractors or tenants, household tasks, and endless errands. The younger 2 are only in preschool for a few hours, so my productive time is limited. Evenings are a marathon of dinner prep, homework help, baths, bedtime stories, and cleanup. Nathan comes home, eats the dinner I cooked, then disappears to play games on his phone or watch TV. When Nathan first got this job, he promised the remote work flexibility would let him help more. He talked about taking kids to sports practice or handling contractor calls. Instead, has become more entitled and disconnected. He leaves trails of mess everywhere, dirty clothes on bathroom floors, coffee cups in random places, paperwork scattered around. He steps over toys without picking them up, leaves dishes in the sink, never helps with laundry or cooking or cleaning. Tonight really showed me how bad things have gotten. Nathan asked me to handle his benefits enrollment for the new job. When I suggested he do it himself during work hours since it's his job responsibility, he looked at me like I was an idiot. I explained I wasn't fully clear on how our benefits changed post-military, and he gave me this disgusted look that made me feel 2 inches tall. I tried explaining that between managing rental properties, MBA classes, and 3 young kids constantly needing attention, some things fall through the cracks. He acted like I was making excuses. When I listed everything I handled daily, he had the audacity to say if I was actually taking care of the house properly, it would be more organized. Yes, our house gets messy sometimes. We have 3 kids under 6. But I clean constantly and our home is much tidier than our friends' houses with young kids. Nathan has become obsessive about everything being perfectly organized but won't lift a finger to maintain it himself. He just criticizes and complains. Every time I try talking about feeling overwhelmed, he twists my words against me. Tonight when I said I feel like you don't help around the house anymore, he got defensive and kept repeating don't lift a finger? Never? Completely missing my point about needing support. He does this every single time I try expressing my feelings. The worst part is he keeps adding more tasks to my plate since I don't work a traditional job anymore. He wants me to start raising chickens, take care of a new livestock guardian puppy, grow a vegetable garden, learn sourdough baking, and handle more investment properties. It's like he sees me as his personal assistant who should be grateful to serve him because he makes good money now. The irony that really gets me, last month when I visited my sister for a week, Nathan was alone with the kids. He sent them to full-day summer camp, only got takeout food, did zero laundry or cleaning, and still complained about how hard it was. Yet he thinks I'm not doing enough managing everything 24/7. I feel completely unappreciated and taken for granted. Nothing I do is ever good enough anymore. He talks down to me like I'm his employee rather than his wife and partner. Between the accelerated MBA program, managing multiple properties and a new franchise, plus being primary caregiver to 3 young kids and running the household, I'm drowning. Emma is in school full-time, but the younger 2 only go for a few hours, so I barely get any quiet time to focus on work or studies. I don't know how to get through to him that I'm not his servant. Every attempt at communication turns into a fight where he twists my words and makes me feel crazy for being overwhelmed. The man I married was a partner who valued my contributions. This new version of Nathan sees me as staff he can order around because his paycheck makes him superior. Am I overreacting? How do I make him understand that his attitude is destroying our marriage? I refuse to continue being treated this way, but I'm struggling to get him to even acknowledge there's a problem. Update 1: The situation with Nathan has gotten significantly worse since my last post. After our fight about the benefits enrollment, his criticism of everything I do intensified. He started following me around the house, pointing out at every little thing I did wrong: how I fold the kids' clothes, apparently I'm not using the Marie Kondo method properly, how I organize the pantry, items weren't grouped by category, even how I load the dishwasher, plates weren't arranged by size. Last Monday, I was helping Emma with her homework when Nathan came home early. Instead of greeting us, he immediately started complaining about some toys left in the living room and dishes in the sink from the kids' afternoon snack. I explained I was helping Emma with a challenging math assignment and would clean up after. He made this dismissive noise and said we clearly needed professional help since I couldn't manage basic household tasks. The next morning, he dropped a bomb. He had already hired a house manager without discussing it with me first. He said since I clearly couldn't keep up with his standards, we needed someone with professional expertise. I was shocked. We never talked about hiring anyone. He made this decision completely unilaterally, using our joint account to pay for it. The house manager, Sarah, showed up that same morning at 8 a.m. sharp. She's probably around 28, always perfectly dressed in business casual attire, carrying a laptop and clipboard like she's some CEO. Nathan gave her complete authority to reorganize our entire home without consulting me at all. She started by doing a full walkthrough, making detailed notes about everything that needed improvement. Sarah spent the first 3 days going through every room, creating spreadsheets and schedules for how things should be organized and maintained. She rearranged our entire kitchen without asking me, replaced the kids' toy organization system I had carefully developed, and created new rules about where things could be placed. The whole time, Nathan kept praising her efficiency and expertise. The most humiliating part was when Sarah started giving me instructions about my own home. She created a daily schedule dictating when I should do laundry, clean bathrooms, and prepare meals. She even criticized how I store the kids' school supplies and suggested completely changing their homework routine. Nathan backed her on everything, completely dismissing the systems I'd developed over years that worked well for our family. Last week, Sarah decided our kids' evening routine wasn't structured enough. She created this rigid schedule with exact times for dinner, bath, teeth brushing, and bedtime. When I explained that flexibility worked better with young kids, especially on nights when they have sports practice, she dismissed my concerns. Nathan immediately sided with her, saying her professional experience meant she knew best. The way Nathan acts around Sarah makes me incredibly uncomfortable. He started coming home earlier and actually engaging with the kids, but only when she's there. He laughs at all her suggestions, praises her organizational skills, and treats her ideas like gospel while completely ignoring my input about our own home and children. Yesterday, I was heading to Nathan's home office to ask about weekend plans when I overheard them talking and laughing. Sarah was telling him about her previous job managing a CEO's household, describing how she transformed their lives and became indispensable to the family. Nathan was completely engrossed, asking questions and showing more interest than he has in anything I've said in months. When I walked in, they both jumped slightly and Sarah quickly said she needed to review the weekly schedule with him. I started noticing other concerning behaviors too. Nathan has been texting constantly, always angling his phone away from me. When I walk into a room, he quickly closes whatever he's looking at. He says it's work, but something feels off. He never used to be secretive with his phone before. I tried talking to my sister about all this. She thinks I'm being paranoid and should be grateful for the help. She said I complained about being overwhelmed, so Nathan found a solution. But she doesn't see how he interacts with Sarah or understand how humiliating it is to have a stranger come in and basically tell me I'm incompetent at running my own home. This morning, I found Sarah rearranging our bedroom closet without asking me first. When I objected, she said Nathan had given her permission. I tried explaining that this was my personal space and I wanted to be consulted about changes. She smiled condescendingly and said she was just trying to help implement a more efficient system. When I brought this up to Nathan, he accused me of being territorial and said I should appreciate having an expert organize things properly. I feel like I'm going crazy. Nathan used to value my opinion about our home and children. Now he treats this stranger like she's the authority on our family life while dismissing everything I say. The way he looks at her and laughs at her jokes reminds me of how he used to be with me when we first met. Am I seeing things that aren't there? Why does he trust her judgment over mine about our own home and kids? I don't know how to handle this situation. If I object to anything Sarah suggests, Nathan accuses me of being difficult and insecure. If I try to maintain any control over my own household, I'm being territorial. Meanwhile, Sarah keeps implementing changes without consulting me, and Nathan keeps praising her while criticizing everything I do. I feel like I'm being pushed out of my own life by this woman who'll supposedly make everything perfect. Has anyone dealt with something similar? How do I address this with Nathan without him dismissing my concerns as insecurity? Should I be worried about how much time they're spending together, or am I just being paranoid? Update 2: I finally discovered why Nathan has been so secretive with his phone. Last week, I was helping him set up his new work laptop and a notification popped up on his phone screen. It was from Sarah, "Can't wait to see you tomorrow," followed by a heart emoji. My stomach dropped, but I confronted him immediately. Nathan tried playing it off as nothing. He claimed Sarah was just being friendly and professional, that I was reading too much into a simple text. When I pressed him about why his house manager would be sending heart emojis, he got defensive and started bringing up how I never appreciated all the positive changes she made in our home. We argued for hours. Nathan kept insisting they only met for coffee occasionally to discuss household management. He said I was being paranoid and turning an innocent professional relationship into something it wasn't. But something in his behavior felt off, so I decided to check our home security cameras. What I found destroyed me. Going through footage from times I was running errands or taking kids to activities, I found multiple instances of Nathan and Sarah in his home office. They weren't discussing household management. The videos showed them kissing, holding hands, and being intimate. Some days they barely waited for my car to leave the driveway before starting. I spent a whole night going through old footage, crying as I watched them carry on their affair in my own home. The worst part was seeing how they acted normal when I returned, Sarah giving me her condescending smile and instructions about how to better organize my life while she was sleeping with my husband. I did some digging and contacted Sarah's previous employer, the CEO she always bragged about transforming his household. Turns out she was fired for having an affair with him. His wife discovered inappropriate texts and surveillance footage, similar to my situation. When I confronted Nathan with this information, his face went pale. After hours of arguing, Nathan finally broke down and confessed. He and Sarah had been having an affair for 6 weeks. It started with innocent flirting but escalated quickly. He admitted knowing about her history with her previous employer. That's partly why he hired her. He had seen her photos on the house management agency's website and was attracted to her from the start. All those times they were reviewing schedules or discussing organization systems, they were really planning their meetups. The whole house manager thing was just a cover to have her around regularly without suspicion. While I was drowning in housework, childcare, and MBA studies, they were carrying on behind my back in our own home. The level of humiliation is unbearable. Sarah wasn't just sleeping with my husband, she was actively undermining my confidence, making me feel incompetent in my own home, all while sleeping with Nathan in his office. Every criticism about my housekeeping, every condescending instruction about how to care for my own children, was coming from the woman sleeping with my husband. When I called the agency that placed Sarah, they were shocked. Apparently she had done this before at multiple households but always managed to get new positions by having her previous employers sign NDAs in exchange for her quiet departure. Nathan knew none of this when he hired her, but he continued the affair even after I expressed concerns about their relationship. I packed up the kids and went to stay with my sister. She was horrified when I showed her the evidence. All those times she told me I was being paranoid, she had no idea how right my instincts were. Nathan has been calling and texting constantly, begging me to come home. He claims he ended things with Sarah and fired her, that it was just a terrible mistake. The worst part is realizing how they must have laughed at me behind my back. All those times Sarah was telling me how to be more efficient, giving me schedules and checklists, she was really just keeping me busy and distracted while she carried on with Nathan. He supported her authority over me because it served their affair. I don't know how to process this betrayal. It's not just that Nathan cheated, he brought his mistress into our home under the guise of helping me, let her criticize and undermine me, all while they were sneaking around behind my back. How do I explain to our kids why we're staying with their aunt? How do I face our friends knowing everyone probably saw what was happening except me? Right now I'm talking to divorce lawyers and trying to figure out next steps. Nathan keeps sending messages about how sorry he is, how he ruined everything for nothing, how he misses his family. But I can't unhear Sarah criticizing my parenting while sleeping with my husband. I can't unsee them together in our home office. Some betrayals you just can't come back from. Update 3. It's been 3 months since I discovered Nathan's affair with Sarah and left with the kids. A lot has happened, and I wanted to give a final update on the situation. After meeting with divorce lawyers, I discovered some disturbing financial details. Nathan had been paying Sarah almost triple the standard rate for a house manager using our joint account. He was giving her $9,000 a month instead of the usual $3,000 to $4,000 rate. When questioned about this through our lawyers, he claimed the extra money was for additional consulting services, but could not provide any documentation of these services. The real shock came when my lawyer found documents showing Nathan had been planning to give Sarah partial ownership of our franchise. He had drafted paperwork to make her a 25% owner, using the explanation that she had provided valuable business consultation. This would have given her a significant stake in the business I helped build and manage. Thankfully, we caught this before he could finalize anything. I filed for divorce immediately and moved into my own place with the kids. The transition has been challenging but necessary. Emma struggled the most at first, asking why we couldn't go home. Lucas and Sophie are too young to fully understand, but they pick up on the tension. I'm working with a child counselor to help them process everything. Nathan tried multiple times to convince me to come back. He showed up at my sister's house unannounced, sent long emails about how he ended things with Sarah and made a terrible mistake. He even had his mother call me to plead his case, saying he was depressed and needed his family. I maintained my position. Some betrayals can't be forgiven. Through mutual friends, I learned Sarah quickly moved on to another wealthy client in a different city. Apparently, this is her pattern. She finds wealthy married men, has affairs with them, then moves on when she's discovered. Nathan was just another conquest in her game. I'm focusing on finishing my MBA and managing our rental properties through my lawyer. The divorce proceedings are messy because Nathan keeps trying to claim he deserves more control over the franchise since he provided the initial capital. My lawyer is fighting this since I was the one who actually managed and grew the business. The kids are slowly adjusting to our new routine. Emma has started therapy to help process her feelings. Lucas and Sophie seem happier now that they're not exposed to constant tension. My sister and friends have been incredibly supportive, helping with childcare and offering emotional support. Nathan still tries reaching out regular, sending messages about missing his family and wanting to make things right. I maintain minimal contact, only discussing kids-related matters through our lawyers. Last week, he sent a long email about how hiring Sarah was the biggest mistake of his life and how he realizes now what he threw away. I didn't respond. Sometimes I miss the life we had before everything fell apart. But then I remember Sarah giving me condescending instructions about my own home while sleeping with my husband, and any nostalgia disappears. I refuse to be with someone who could humiliate and betray me so completely. The divorce should be finalized in a few months. I'm focusing on healing and building a new life with my kids. The experience taught me that I can handle more than I thought possible. It's not the ending I expected for my marriage, but it's better than living with betrayal and disrespect. Looking back, I realize Nathan showed his true character when he hired Sarah without consulting me. He never respected me as an equal partner. I'm just grateful I discovered everything before he could damage our financial stability or completely destroy my confidence. Sometimes losing someone who doesn't value you is actually finding yourself.